Good evening and welcome. Welcome to Fight CPS Stop Taking Our Children. We're supposed to have a guest tonight. She was going to be on last night, but somehow things got confused. We have a new member on Facebook, Jesus Madrigal. And welcome here. He came a new member, I guess, at 10:15 p.m. Wow, that must have been last night. It wasn't this morning. It's not 10:15 at night. So anyway, if you're in here, Jesus Madrigal, welcome. This is a live stream broadcast around the world. Anyone that has internet can see me. I've talked to 23 countries and over 1,800 people. And one of the countries is the United States, and I've talked to all 50 states, including Washington, D.C. Now I'm on this particular live stream twice a day. I'm on every night at 7 p.m., and on the mornings, Monday through Friday, I'm at 10 a.m., and on the weekends at 8 a.m. Those are all Pacific Standard Times. I'm broadcasting from the West Coast of California, and I would love to have you here to help you with your CPS case. I call CPS the Child Protection System. And there's many of you that are regulars that come back here all the time. And it's really, really, really good there. So. Okay. Okay. Someone left a message here, and I'm trying to figure who did. One inbox. May 22nd. That last message here. Okay. Boy. Anyway, it's a warm welcome, and hopefully you all have a question to ask or a story to tell. I have lots of topics I can talk about. I'm not an attorney. I'm here to help you with your CPS case. I have good words of wisdom. I'm a loving father, a husband. I've helped raise 6 children. 3 of them are grown up and have a successful family. My younger 3 were stolen from me in 2015, from me and my wife. And it was a horrible experience. I went through CPS. I've been fighting them since 2010 when I lost my job at age 60 through no fault of my own. And what was happening was the mandated reporters who were, not mandated reporters, but a layman reporter had called in and said that me and my wife were not taking care of our children properly. They did it every week for 5 years. Every time CPS came, I showed them the house. I showed them a lot of things, and there's nothing they could see that was wrong. There's nothing they could see that was wrong. Anyway, I'm here to share my case. I've developed 5 rules to go by. If I knew these 5 rules, I would never have gone through the experience that I had gone through. Now, a lot of you say that CPS is corrupt, and you're right. There are many CPS cases that have gone rogue. Not all CPS is bad. Same thing with social workers. Not all CPS are bad here. Oh, here we go. We got our guest here. I was expecting you tonight. There you are. Welcome.
I'm so sorry. I was sitting there waiting and waiting. I didn't scroll all the way down and see that I had to enter myself. I thought I was going to be entered.
Oh, it's okay. I am really confused. what happened with last night, because unfortunately, when I came on yesterday morning, I had entered the wrong show. I thought I had entered the show called Fight CPS with Bob Pace. And what had happened was apparently it had changed to the night show, Fight CPS, Stop Taking Our Children. Well, after that show was over, I was told by my show producer that I supposedly entered the wrong room. Now, I went back and tried to find it, and sure enough, what happened yesterday is I had an outage and I had to shift computers. And so I came on at 6:30, the same time that she tried to correct things last night. And she wanted me to go on the evening show. I went on my morning show because it was the only one showing at 6:30 at night. But anyway, she said that you were a guest, and I've really apologized for the mess up there.
Not a problem.
And your name is Keilani?
Keiki Leilani.
Keilani, okay. Is that a Hawaiian name?
It is. It is.
Oh, wow. Wow. Are you from Hawaii?
My father is. I was born and raised in California.
Oh, okay. Okay. But what part of the islands?
Oahu.
Oahu, the gathering place. Yes, I know it quite well. I've had probably about more trips there than any other place in the world.
Sadly, I've never even been to Hawaii. I've never even been.
It's funny. I have never lived there, but I know it like my backyard. I'm a world traveler. I've lived in a lot of different countries and been to many countries, over 50 of them, some 25 times. Anyway, what my format is I do a brief introduction, and then I'm going to turn the show over to you to talk about your case, or if you have a question, either like that. So let me finish up telling people what they can do real quickly here.
Okay.
We're going to talk to our guest in a few moments, who has, I guess you have a CPS case in California?
Yes, sir.
What county?
LA, Los Angeles.
Oh, Los Angeles County. Oh, boy.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I just was dealing with a family last week. They had one up in Santa Clarita, and they're going to Monterey Park. And so they had been medically trafficked, their child was, and wrongly accused. And the child, well, unfortunate, they took out the wrong thing. They took out appendicitis as opposed to be a gallbladder stones. And the social worker insisted it was appendicitis. This is how bad the CPS has gotten there. Anyway, to interact in this live stream, one way is to send messages. And our host and I will see your messages. You see the comments, right?
Yes, I do.
Okay. All right. So if you're going to send a message, you can text it either as a comment or a question, but it must pertain to CPS. Please state your first name, your city or county, and your state, and of course, country, because I have 23 countries, including the United States, that have participated. So put that in there. Also, please tell me about your CPS case from beginning to where you're at. Okay. Ooh. And the countries so far that I've had come in here, and some have been multiple times, but I've had Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, and then in the Middle East, I've had Saudi Arabia and Libya. Then over to Africa, there's
CPS over there around the country like that?
Yeah, they have similar problems.
This is
room
scary.
Will help you. I'll spend the hour to help. I am really good about what I do. So I've had some good results today. Some people told me that they got their kids back thanks to me. It doesn't cost you a dime. Anyway.
Yeah, it's scary.
Yeah. Anyway, over to Africa. We've had Liberia, then Sudan, then down to Republic of Congo. That's the newest country. And then over to Rwanda, then Mozambique, and then, of course, South Africa, several of the provinces there. We have a lady named Laika who actually calls long distance, pays hundreds of dollars to talk on the show. And that's really, they use Rand. They don't use dollars, use Rand. But anyway, she tells me from South Africa. And then we go to Europe. I've had England, Scotland, Wales, Denmark, and Sweden. Then across the pond, I've had North America, Canada, and the United States. And then south of the border, Mexico. And then down to South America, north of Brazil, Grenada. And then over to the South Pacific, I've had New Zealand, and then the land down under, Australia, and several of the states there. So it's well diverse of people. I've had everybody from every state, including the District of Columbia. So I've had people that are on reservations, Native American Indian people. I've had First Nation people of Canada. They call their indigenous Indians, they call them First Nation. We call them Native American. And the word Indian actually came from Christopher Columbus because he thought he was in India, and the people that he found on the islands in the Caribbean, he called Indians, and they weren't. So that's where the name came from. But anyway, we help everybody here, black, white, purple, green, whatever color, and whether you're a single mom, single dad. I mean, I had one guy calling here, and wife died sadly, and he's in Alaska pitching a tent that is so thin that he's freezing to death because he wants to be near his children. So anyway, please, ask me a question or a comment, and we'll try to help you there. Now, a second way is to be a guest like my guest tonight. You can be on the live stream and talk, and all you have to do is email my show producer, Grace. You just tell her one of the 14 shows. I want Bob's Friday night show, or want me Bob's Wednesday morning show, or Monday night, whatever it is, and she'll give you the link. It takes you to StreamYard, and if you get knocked off, put the link up again. It's still good for the show. And I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And to contact Grace is you do grace@vincentwdavis.com. grace@vincentwdavis.com. And you just tell her that, the day and the time you want. Also, she'll tell you the do's and don'ts. Like, we don't allow profanity on the show, no eating or smoking, and no names of children, judges, or social workers. I guess those are some of the things she told you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
okay.
I've attended several
live streams.
Something with that, something to do with.
Okay, I'm glad you picked me in there. So anyway, that's to be a guest. The last thing I have up here, if you want to call in, there's my phone number. It's 626-698-0990. And you can text me or call in. And I do phone calls from 8 to 11 in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, and from 8 to 10. And then from 11 to 1, I do more phone calls. And the purpose of my phone calls is to help people sign agreements and hire Vincent Davis. That's what I do, is try to do that. But I do talk to a lot of you during the week and during the time there. So if you are a guest on my show or you call in, you're entitled to a free 15-minute private Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis. So if you're not talking to a professional attorney, he's the guy. And his number, by the way, is on my screen, 888-6582. And that's his law offices. When you talk to reception, tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And when you talk to Mr. Davis, tell them that Bob Pace sent you. Also, you can ask reception of the show times for the live streams by myself, by Vincent Davis. There's 4 or 5 other people. We have KK Richardson on Brooklyn, New York, who's on Monday night. We have DJ on Wednesday night. We have Mrs. G. And, of course, Vincent. He has shows during the day and on the weekend. So those are all things you can get there. Plus, you can find about guides and books and things like that. But anyway, that's enough info about this live stream. It's very anxious. I want to hear about the story that Kalani. I keep saying
it's
Kalani.
Kiki. You can call me Kiki. That's what everybody calls me.
Kiki. Okay, Kiki is good.
It makes it a little easier.
Right. Anyway, Kiki is from LA County in California, and she has a case that she's going to share with us. And I guess you start at the beginning. Go ahead.
Well, I don't even where to start. The whole case really is probably
the knock on the door is usually the first spot to start.
Here's the thing. The thing is that initially it started because let me just be real. I'm going to be really, really transparent about this. Initially, I've had three DCFS cases. And the first one started years ago, probably about, I'd say 14 years ago. And I was able to get my son back. And I realized, I was basically told, as long as you do as you're asked, you will get your son back. So of course, I did exactly what it is that they asked me to do, and I got my son back. And then the second time came around, and this time it was because I guess I didn't take the dentist, they said, in over a year, which was ridiculous. They came to pick him up probably 2 days before his actual dental appointment. But currently, let me just speed it up. The case.
No, we can slow down because I'm still at the beginning. How many children do you have?
I have 5 children.
Okay.
I have 5.
Were all 5 involved in CPS?
No.
Okay. What children were involved in CPS?
My youngest. I have one who's now 15. My case has been opened up for almost 5 years. Well, it's been right now. They canceled my reunification.
Was there a biological father involved with your children?
Okay. Well, this is the controversy. Okay, I have 2 young ones. I have one that is now 5, and one that is 15. And when this case, this case that I'm dealing with, I'm speaking about right now, it started as a voluntary DCFS case. My son's behavior was, he was basically acting out, and he was struggling. He was just struggling. My son, he was struggling. We were battling homelessness, and I was in a dysfunctional relationship. And I started realizing, I had a child, another baby with this man that I was in a relationship with. And, my son that's 15, prior to my youngest being born, it was really just me and him because my older children were kind of grown. I have adult children, and
those 4 other children were out on their own.
No, 3, my other 3.
Okay, what about the 3 younger ones?
The 2 younger ones. I have 5. The 2 younger ones. Okay. So
two younger
I'm trying
ones.
I'm not so much nervous. I'm just kind of anxious to share my story. So I'm not trying to bounce around. Please forgive me.
Fine. Is the father the same father as your 15-year-old and your 2-year-old?
No.
Okay, so you had 2 fathers there. Are the other 3 children the same father, or they're different?
They're the same father.
Okay, so 3 children, and you had success with 3 children, and are you still in touch with those 3 older children?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Okay, and then you've had 2 relationships, and you had a child with each of the relationships.
Yes.
So what happened to the 15-year-old father? He kind of drifted away?
You know what? It just didn't happen. He was really young, and it just didn't happen. And I mean, he hasn't never been in my son's life. My son doesn't know his father.
So he has not done any support. You've been raising your 15-year-old all by yourself.
Yeah, I have.
Wow.
So when my youngest son was born, it was really almost just, it was like it was just a whole different way from my son that's 15. I'm going to, I don't know how to say this. My son was struggling with his emotions and all kinds of things that were happening. And basically, the DCFS came into my life because my son started acting up in school, and he did he just was displaying behavior.
Which son, the 2-year-old or the?
No, the 15-year-old.
15-year-old.
At the time, he was 10.
Okay. And so when he was acting up school, did the school report it?
Well, yeah, the pet team was called, and my son was hospitalized.
They reported it. So those are the there are 2 kinds of reporters. We have the mandated reporters, which are school people, and then we have the layman reporters, which are friends and family acquaintances
and people that are just evil and just want to sit there.
Yes, right. Just want to do retaliation or alienation. So anyway, the school, by the way, I got to tell you, these people, last year there was 4.2 million reports by the professionals, reporters. Of the 4.2 million, 2 million were false. There were nothing to investigate about. That's 50%. So right now, the mandated reporters are 50% right of the time. I'm not saying you're always right, but they're right half the time.
Well, my son's behavior, was bad, and so, as when DCFS came into my life, I wasn't that scared because I felt like I knew I'm not a bad mom, in my head.
Right.
And so I, once again, like a fool, I was a little trusting with the social worker, a little too trusting. And, they're very good with twisting your words and manipulating the situation to make things, look like something rather a little bit, they just elaborate everything and they kind of add something. They paint a picture, And so this case started, but they were not able to detain my children. Initially, this is how it happened. Now, during the time frame, I basically was given a court order, the case plan that they have, which I completed, and it basically was just to get my son into a private school. I had already started the process to get him an IEP, and so I was already, I'm already cognizant where I'm not a dumb woman at all, and I'm very resourceful, and so I kind of knew, how to navigate through a lot of different things. And I'm, like I said, I'm resourceful, so I was able to complete everything that they wanted me to complete. And I had told the social worker, about, I'd say 2 months into the voluntary DCFS case, I suppose, that I was in a dysfunctional relationship, and I told her, I was very, like I said, I was very transparent with her, and I was very trusting. And I don't know why, but I was. And, basically my ex, even though I told her I was in a dysfunctional relationship, she offered me no services. I told her I believe that has a lot to do with my son's behavior, us being homeless, and just me subjecting my son to something that we
So this is all about your 15-year-old. You haven't had your birth of your youngest, right?
I had the birth of my youngest was there. He was already one. He's already one.
When this happened?
Yes. So he was there.
Okay. So
like I said,
15-year-old that had problems, and then your 1-year-old was born when your 15-year-old was having problems.
Well, my 15-year-old was only 10 at the time.
So, okay, let me do that way. My 10-year-old, and how old was your firstborn? 6 months, something like that, when they had problems?
It was about a year and a half.
Okay, so you have a year and a half child, and that particular man didn't want to be a part of your life or help you with raising your 2 children.
The 1.5? No. His dad was. Now I was in a relationship with the baby's father, my youngest one.
Oh, and it's still good or not?
No. It was a dysfunctional relationship. We had a problem.
Oh, okay. So you're trying to raise not only your 15-year-old, your 10-year-old. You're trying to raise a year and a half old.
Yeah, and I was
not because your income probably isn't that well, because you have 2 children. And all the expenses, rent, your housing, your food and clothing.
I was homeless. at the time.
Oh, you were homeless at the time.
I was displaced. Okay. I had a home to live in.
Nothing wrong with being homeless. In fact, Congress just passed a new law in January. A lot of people don't know about it. President Biden signed it on Saturday, and it was a new law where they say now no longer can CPS charge a parent with neglect if they're homeless.
Well, this whole case was, I don't even know, it was voluntary, I suppose. This is how it started. And despite the fact that I was very honest with the social worker regarding, my relationship and how I feel that it was affecting my son, she offered me no services. She just was kind of like, okay, whatever. And so basically after the case should have been closed. I had completed all the case order, everything. And
at the start of the case, did you even get an attorney, or you had to use a court?
Well, of course they give you a court-appointed attorney, but I'll be, without being disrespectful, these court-appointed attorneys, nothing
I know
for me.
The public defender is worthless because they are hired by CPS, they're paid by CPS, they're only trained in criminal law, they're not trained in juvenile, family law, or dependency law, and it's a waste of time. They're not going to fight for you, and they have anywhere from 30 to 100 cases. One woman from El Paso, Texas, said that her court-appointed attorney had 100 clients. Now,
not only did he not fight for me, but he was rude, and he was very judgmental. And I get it. I understand that there's obviously some sort of I'm not going to say stigma, but there's a certain type of
when the school contacted the Department of Family and Children's Services, DCFS, I think what they call it. Anyway, I just call it CPS, Child Protection System. When the school contacted them, did they meet you out at the school, or did they come knocking at your home?
They came to my home.
And at that time, do you know about your constitutional rights or civil rights? You didn't have to answer the door?
I do now, but I didn't then.
Good. I'm
Yeah,
doing this because we have listeners. We have right now
I
about
understand.
15 people in
And
the
let me
room.
tell you, I've had 5 years to read the Constitution. I've had 5 years to read the WIC codes and the penal codes
Yeah.
and the court rules and everything that I've been
They
so
eat you alive if you talk to them. And what I tell people, don't answer the door. Your door
yeah.
is your
Don't
castle.
sign
If the door is
anything at
closed, your
all.
drawbridge is up.
Yeah, do
And you
not
don't
sign.
need to answer the door because the only way they can get in your home is if you give them permission or a family member does, or they have a warrant
Exactly.
that specifically addresses what they want to do. And the warrant's got to be validated. CPS is notorious to use fake warrants. And the last thing is if there is danger happening and the
Yeah.
child is being abused or loud noises, things like that, they'll come and enter it. Now, when they came knocking the door, you probably let them in, right?
No, I didn't. I didn't let him in.
Oh,
I didn't let him in. I knew that much, So I didn't let
okay.
them in. But basically I agreed to go to their main office and have a
Which is another no-no.
I
Go
know.
ahead.
I mean, like I said, in my heart and in my heart and in my mind, I was confident because I knew that I wasn't doing anything wrong. Well, I mean,
I
you know
was
what
in
I
the
mean.
same boat too. I was so open and so much blood in my mouth. But you have to understand, the best place to meet them is in public so you can record it. And
Yeah.
that is like Starbucks, McDonald's, or the library.
Yeah.
If you meet them in public, you can take pictures and audios because they do lie
Yes.
and they'll
Yes, they
set
do.
you up.
Yes, they do.
They will
They
set
lie.
you
They
up and they
withhold evidence.
retaliate.
Hmm.
They'll retaliate. So they're determined because it's a money making business. LA County is one of the worst. And it's a $1 trillion business, not billion, not million, but $1 trillion. That's more than Elon Musk makes.
I
Everybody
mean,
talks about Elon Musk is the richest man in the world. He doesn't make $1 trillion. $1 trillion is unfathomable.
the thing. Sorry, I'm sorry. I'm gonna let you finish. I'm so sorry. I'm just like I'm excited. I'm excited to speak because I haven't even gotten halfway through my story.
Well,
And I
no,
think
we're going to get there, and we're going to get there. It's just I slow you down a little bit. I also interject things that the listeners that are first time with CPS, they may just got knocking on the door today, or they're going to
Mhm.
get a knock tomorrow, because too many people, by the way, have been killed innocently by opening the door.
Yeah.
Too many people are shot dead. I mean, this one case, a black airman, on May 3rd of 2024. Was talking to his fiance on FaceTime, opens the door, and the Gainesville sheriff fires 5 rounds into his chest,
Are you
point blank.
kidding me?
No, this is just to tell you a wake up call.
I mean, I know that. Trust me, I know if you. My
Yeah.
story is pretty controversial.
Well,
I'll tell you like that.
there. Anyway, that is to wake people up that it does happen. So if the guy didn't answer the door, the guy had the sheriff had the wrong place for domestic violence. And this black mother
Ironically,
had to bury him in Alabama. And he had gone to Florida because he was stationed there in the United States Air Force. And he's just an airman, a listed man, but he had a future. He was making his mama proud. And sadly, she now is faced with, of course, suing him. The guy was fired, but that's all they did. They didn't discipline him. So she filed a lawsuit. The same guy that's suing a couple other incidents of black men being shot or needlessly choked to death. There's a big attorney, I forgot his name, but he goes around helping out parents, and it's wrong what they do. But anyway, that is a message I want to leave everybody's mind tonight. Don't open the door because you don't know if you'd be shot. There's a black woman in LA County not too long ago that was shot in the face 5 times and killed. I don't know why policemen use 5 rounds. I have no idea. I don't know why they can't shoot at the foot or shoot at the hand or something. And again, a policeman the other night was killed. He was ambushed. So I know that policemen are sensitive, and it's a recent policeman that was killed. So the best way to do it protects the policeman and it protects the person, is don't answer the door. And don't talk to social workers unless you have an attorney present. And if you can't afford one, make that court-appointed attorney work. Kick them in the seat of the pants or her pants and tell her, you're working for me. If you're not, I'll file a civil lawsuit for negligence, and I'll report you to the state bar in Sacramento in California and have your license suspended. Believe me, that wakes them up. That wakes them up.
Well, ironically, that's kind of what it's going to have to boil down to with me. I mean, that it's
Yeah.
really this whole thing. I mean, I've been ineffectively represented, and you know, it's just.
Have you tried to replace?
Oh yeah, I tried to
the-
represent myself as well. I had a Marsden hearing.
Pro se. Okay. All right.
I've tried to do it all, but the judge has shot me down every single time. And let me tell you, it's not easy to stand up in court when you're not an attorney and try to fight for your rights. Even though I know darn well that they're violating the Constitution every single bit of the way. And I know that there's even case law. I mean, there's just so much to this where I don't even understand how it could be happening. I mean, really, it just seems like there's something really, really wrong with this when these things that they're not even abiding by their own laws that have been.
No, they really don't. They are very. LA County, San Bernardino, Riverside, and Orange County are very corrupt. So is Kern County. We have Margaret King from Kern County that Mr. Davis is representing. And we had a couple this past weekend. Not this weekend, the weekend before last. And they had a 4-year-old daughter. And that 4-year-old daughter wasn't doing too well. And they took their child to a pediatrician, their child doctor. And the pediatrician said they need to go to the hospital. And they went to the hospital, and the hospital did some sonogram checks because it was the pain. The pain was on the left side. Appendix is on the right side. There's mistake number one the doctors made. They didn't take x-rays because x-rays would have shown the gallbladder stones that were blocking the duct. So there was mistake number two. Anyway, a social worker interfered and said, well, your parents not taking care of the child needs appendix. Listen to the doctor. The parents saying, I want a second opinion. I want to see there's alternative ways of doing it. So they went to the next hospital. Next hospital wasn't any better. So they went along with it at the insistence of the social worker to have her appendix removed. And our appendix is very beneficial because it helps out with problems with young children growing up and being immune. It really helps out with immunity to diseases and stuff. So appendix should not be removed. It's not the number one thing there. But anyway, they're talking to me. They have a court date on Wednesday of last week. And I told them, I said, well, first we had to identify what the problem was. We had to get all the medical records together from the hospitals and all the incorrection analogies and stuff. Because the social worker was going to take them the 9 yards. They just wanted to make that $20,000 they get per child per month. And they really were anxious for doing that. So I told them to get a continuance because I said, you can try to get Mr. Davis because they didn't have their paperwork together. And with no paperwork, Mr. Davis couldn't really help too much, but I helped them, and they asked the judge. They went ahead with the court-appointed attorney, and on Wednesday, they did get it. They wanted a 30 to 90 days continuance, or 60 days, I was telling them. They got a 1 day.
Are they asking for a trial?
This is the dependency hearing to see whether or not the child should stay with them or they should take the child.
The detention of the after the adjudication, the detention
hearing, yes. Mm-hmm. And so the judge says, okay, we'll give you a day. So they gave Thursday. Guess what? On Friday, they showed up with a real attorney. It wasn't Mr. Davis, but it's a real qualified attorney. The judge's face dropped. He now had a serious case. And they stopped him from removing the child. Now it's this week. They have another court date coming up. They're going to get the whole case dropped out. It's really backfired, and it's really good news. So what I'm trying to tell you all, whether you're fighting yourself or you're trying to use a court-appointed attorney or using Mr. Davis, who's one of the finest attorneys around, but it's hard. His retainer for LA County is $5,000. He's a $500 an hour attorney, and he is a good one. He has 39 years of fighting CPS and gotten back thousands of children. He's also a trial attorney. He also does civil lawsuits and won millions of dollars from CPS. He's not afraid to stand up to him. But I wanted to sue my social worker who committed perjury in court, and it would cost me $50,000 retainer. I didn't have $50,000. I'd already spent pretty close to $150,000. I sold my home, which was tragic because my forever home that I worked 45 years was gone. All this has happened to me when I was 60. I'm now 75 now, and it was very hard on me, very, very, very hard. But I'm trying to tell you out there that you have to analytically go through it step by step. You have to look at all the pieces of the puzzle. You got to educate yourself 80 hours. I have rule number 4, how to use the internet, how to propose questions on the internet. You start off with the city, the state, and then the letter CPS. If you're from a country, you put your country and then the letter CPS. Then it's going to give you a lot of answers about CPS in that city and state or country. But if you want to be specific, like how to get an attorney, how to get a pro bono attorney, what is how to file a motion for the 300, what is a 160 hearing, what is a 180 hearing, what is the ICWA Act of 1978, the Indian Child Welfare Act. There's so many things that you can find just by doing research and spending 60, 80 hours. Anyway, back to your case. And I want to say hello to Carrie Sampson, who came in the room. What is your advice for me, for my son acting out? You need to give me some more information, Carrie. Kiki, I don't know if that you can answer that one there. It says, my son is acting out. Acting out what way? Is he rebellious? Is he a special needs child? I know that Kiki is talking about her 15-year-old acting out. I wonder if that was the same thing. That's why she'll probably ask the question.
She should definitely get him into some therapy. I mean, and get some backup. You know, you want to get something where you can find out what's going on, because there's a reason that they're acting up. That they don't act out just to act out. You know, there's always a reason behind it, and you want to start as soon as you can. Get into
Right.
Get somebody to back you up, because they're gonna, if DCFS gets involved, it's all your fault. They're gonna attack you, and you want to be able to have people behind you that can back up what you say. So I think the most important thing is to get him.
Good advice. Good advice. There's a new guy that came on yesterday, but I think he has multiple names. This is Jayatha Walter. She says, "Can I call in?" Well, you can call in a few minutes. I'm not taking calls quite yet because I want to hear more about Kiki's case, but you can. Where are you from, Walter, there? I can't remember. I think you told me this morning it was in Cary. I think you've told me once before. Walter, I filed to change counsel, but the judge may keep them on my case. Oh, he wanted to change his lawyer.
Yeah,
What's been your experience trying to change your lawyer, Kiki? What have you done?
I'm going to be quite honest. Like I said, I did have a Marsden hearing, and I mean, I've had almost.
You used a good word. A Marsden hearing is when you replace an attorney.
Yeah, I've tried. But see, the thing is when you're in a courtroom where they're not really the best interests of your children are not really what's going on. And when you're dealing with something that's as corrupt as it can be, and you're sitting there helpless and you realize that there's nothing that you can do. I mean, well, you feel that way, at least. This is how it appears. This is how it feels. And they're holding your heart and your world in front of you. And you feel vulnerable. You are vulnerable. And so you just want to believe. But the scary part is, no matter what I said or did, even though by law and by the rights of God, in my opinion, my specific case should not be like this. This is not the way it's supposed to go. I mean, you have to understand, he's now 5. I haven't seen him in 2.5 years. I was been completely alienated from him. They granted his father custody because I was 2 classes short of parenting, but I got we started the parenting classes at the same exact time. They held a hearing, which myself nor my attorney was present. They said that mom was not complying with court orders. Meanwhile, I was on unmonitored visits. So if there's no way I could not have been complying with court orders if I was on unmonitored visits. And that court hearing should have never taken place without myself or my attorney present. And now these are things that I know, but I have no, it's just, it's a very helpless feeling when you're sitting there and you're like, wait a minute, this is not right. This is not the way it's supposed to be going, but it's happening. And you're in a courtroom and they're looking at you like, but what are you going to do about it? Meanwhile, my children's mental health, their state, their well-being is they're just being traumatized. And this is irreparable damage that my kids have been suffering from. And I have proof, I have documents, I have everything. I was on top of everything. I wasn't sitting there slacking, or I took it very seriously. This is my children's lives. And they basically, these police, these like family, like policing agencies, basically DCFS, whatever, CPS, it's just corrupt. And it's just not, it's not supposed to be happening like this. It's just really not. I don't know what it's going to take for change to happen. And I really hope that that's why I'm here today, because I think that there needs to be something. There needs to be change. Look, my case, like I said, I've been alienated from my baby, my youngest one. I haven't seen him in years. What I didn't get to finish telling you is, right when my case was going to close, I actually obtained housing, affordable housing in a good environment. I left my ex, which, I left the dysfunctional relationship. So already I was in my mind, everything's going to get better. Well, he decides to hit me in the face. And I had all, like I said, I'm resourceful. So I had all these different people, agencies in my life, and they're mandated to report things like this. So I had a social worker come to my house and say, what happened to your face? And I'm like, well, this is what happened. I told him he can't come here anymore. I don't want to be with him. And he ended up getting violent with me. And so she's like, well, you have to report this. And I'm like, what do you mean? I'm like, I was kind of scared, like I said, because I didn't want to have to deal. My case was about to close. And mind you, my children were never detained this whole time. They couldn't detain them because there was no reason to. So after I did what I was told to do. I reported it. I said, I've been hit by him. I explained that he's no longer in the home. I am no longer with him. And they still came and took my babies anyways. And they came without a police officer. And it's like I was ignorant to all the laws and the way that it's supposed to be. And I didn't realize, right. I didn't press, like, let me see the subpoena. let me see the, what is
the warrant, the warrant.
Sorry, the warrant. I didn't do these things because I just wasn't knowledgeable. I mean, I know that ignorance is no excuse in the law. I mean, but these are things I was just not aware of at the time, and it sucks.
Don't be too hard on yourself, because I've done the same thing. For 5 years, from 2010 to 2015, once a week, I had to answer to CPS because my in-laws, my wife's mother, father, 3 sisters, and a brother were calling in and making false allegations. And this went on for 5 years. And finally, they got really, they finally gave up. And so they said, oh, we'll catch them this way. We'll bring out the F troop, what I'm calling, because there's a group of 3 social workers, 5 firemen, 2 uniformed policemen, 2 code, and then the detective. And they're all in front of my house. And I have CC&Rs, and I live in a private neighborhood with a very expensive home. And they were trying to find something. And so I know what these people do. First of all, I made a mistake of letting them in my home. Second of all, I made the mistake of even following the detective or answering to him or even talking to him. Unless you have an attorney present, you shouldn't talk to them. The problem is the court appointed, they don't have time to be there. They won't be there. In fact, was your case in Monterey Park?
Yes.
Okay. At Monterey Park, do they allow you in the courtroom?
Well, this was during COVID when this happened. So there was it was even worse. I mean, you attended court by phone, by like a WebEx, like a webinar type of
thing. Right.
WebEx. Like right now. Exactly. Yeah. And it's not the same, despite, my ex, despite everything. I mean, I really haven't shared my whole case, but I'm going to tell you, I just like really quickly, I have evidence. I mean, I have proof that, the social worker had withheld information. She wasn't being truthful. The reports that they were saying, everything that should not happen in a courtroom happened in my case. And as a direct result of it, my son, who's now 15, has been in the system for 4 years now, almost 5. And my baby, I haven't seen.
Wow.
I haven't seen my youngest in 2.5 years. And it's the most insane. It sounds untrue. It sounds like I'm lying.
Where has your 15-year-old son been the last 4 years?
Placement. He's in placement.
Where?
He's in placement. He's been in and out of foster homes.
In prison?
No, in placement. In a placement.
In placement in a foster home. Is it a group home?
No, it's not a foster home. It's a group home. He's in a group home right now.
A group home. Okay.
He's been in several.
A group home. Is that run by a Boys Town?
Something. No, I'm not really sure. No, it's a different one. I'm not really sure exactly. But the bottom line with it is that my son is suffering. He's suffering. I mean, I can't even begin.
Does he take him? Do they take him to the school of origin?
No, my son's in a private school.
Oh, what? That was his school of origin?
No.
How could CPS afford a private school?
Well, because he has an IEP.
Oh, he's special needs child.
Well, because of his behavior, yes.
Because of his IEP, special needs get additional $15,000 on top of the $20,000.
I know.
So now they're getting $35,000 for their child.
I know.
So yeah, I know exactly what's going on.
They stayed adamant about trying to adopt him out.
They're going to try to get him to do his checking account and save. They're going to offer him college if he stays on there beyond 18. They're going to try to keep him and get him lost in the system. But know this: when your son turns 18, no matter if he's special needs or not, he can come home to his mama. He can come home to you.
Oh, and trust me. I see him once a week. I'm very.
That's good.
Yeah,
but you should also see your young child. Your
I
1.5.
But the case opened then again because of domestic violence. And like I said, they held this hearing that I was not made aware of, and neither my attorney wasn't present. And they ended up separating the cases with my boys. And they let my youngest, the judge granted him permission to go to Texas with him, even though he violated the restraining order 3 times during this process. And
what was in Texas?
He was moving to Texas for work.
Who?
No. My ex, the one with the baby, his father, they let my ex was moving to Texas, and they allowed him to take my baby to Texas to live. And they basically said, because I had unmonitored visits, okay, they said that, okay, you can go visit him 3 times a week for, I believe it was 3 hours.
You're going to drive all the way to Texas?
That's what they said. And the judge said that the father has no responsibility to bring him to California, that I have to go to Texas. And I'm looking at the judge like, this is a 1.5-year-old baby.
Caused domestic violence. Did you put a restraining order against him?
Yes. And he violated the restraining order 3 times. And I gave the police
reports to my... Did he go to trial, the criminal trial?
Yes, he did.
Convicted of domestic violence? Then why are they putting that child with that person?
That's a very good question. And I mean, it gets even worse. You don't understand. If I told you all the details, it's ridiculous. It should not have taken place. It's scary. And I can't even begin to tell you how hard it's been to live, to push forward and to stay hopeful and to stay strong, realizing this is something very wrong here. There's something very, very wrong. And I mean, all the details are scary. It's like a nightmare. It's like a nightmare. It's like something that I'm ready to fight all the way with this. I'm ready to go because there's no other way around it. I haven't seen my baby in 2.5 years, and he's now 5. My son that's 15 is completely depressed in ways that you can't even. It hurts to see your children suffering, and to know you're powerless over this. You can't really do much.
I would like to say a message to Jat Watt. He says I called the Dodge number, but they said they don't take reports or complaints. Well, if you call the 202, that's the White House. And if they want it in writing, there's a website you can go to, the Gov there. And also, you can also email to doge@mail.house.gov. Now, President Trump says he actually encouraged people to call in about complaints about government agencies, and that he is offering you jobs. If you need a job, you can work for Doge. Doge does hire people. It is a salary position. I don't know how much it pays, but When you go to their government website, it's very interesting. You can see what they're doing and what everything is like that. It's called the Department of Government Efficiency, and they're supposed to help out with corruption. And right now, social service is being investigated, and the child protection system is a part of social services. So, all you parents out there, you need to send emails and do repeatedly phone calls to the White House. That's 202-456 quadruple 1 or 202-456-1414. And I do know it's working numbers, and I have called them, so it is a good thing there. And if you can't talk to someone, you first call in, say, "Can I speak to a supervisor, please?" That gets you to a lot of places sometimes. Always say that. "Can I speak to the supervisor?" If that doesn't work, "Can I speak to the director?"
And get their
If
names.
that doesn't work, yeah, and you got their names. "Can I speak to the civil rights coordinator? Can I speak to the president of the United States?" I would not be afraid to call President
That's
Trump.
right.
You know, so anyway, I share that with y'all in there to go to the website to see what they offer for jobs. They have an email that you can write your whole story on an email there, and they have 2 working phone numbers. Now,
Great news. This is really good.
I'm
I'm really glad to hear this. I didn't know this.
Jat Watt, I'm always saying that because I don't know how to pronounce your name, but Jat Watt, I have no idea where you're from, but you ask your counsel one more time that you can replace your counsel. Okay. And Christina, I'm sorry. Welcome, Christina. She's from Las Vegas, Nevada. And she just asked me, "Have you had a birthday this year?" Nope. It's November 16th. And I hate birthdays because I'm a dinosaur, and this dinosaur is getting older and older. But anyway, I'm forever young. I'm forever young. So everything like that. So Carrie Sampson, I think Kiki gave you some good information what to do if your son's acting up. Make sure everybody else that we did answer here. Get counsel. And then Tracy McKinnis, I don't know where you're from, Trace McKinnis, but you say you agree. Oh, great. And the Doge thing didn't work out. Oh, I'm going to make a complaint about a social worker. She gave a statement. I gave it, destroyed my relationship with my granddaughter's mother. Oh, that's terrible. And Carrie, Carrie says, "If I could afford Miss Davis, I would tell him to come to my court hearing and shut everything down, but I can't afford him. I'm so sorry. All I'm working for is a CPS attorney, and now I'm doubting it." Well, Mr. Davis has a lot of free time. By being a guest, you're going to get free 15-minute private Zoom consultation with Mr. Davis. If you call in, you get a free 15-minute private Zoom consultation. For $60, you can get 30 minutes with free time with Mr. Davis on a private Zoom consultation. And you can listen to the live streams. Vincent's on every day of the week. He's on the weekends. He has numerous live streams where he'll answer questions and talk to people. He does everything he can humanly possibly do there. Now, Jat Watt says, "I asked for a supervisor. They only gave a number, not their names for the supervisor." Well, okay. If they didn't give you a name, that's okay. Just call that number. You have to be persistent. That is the problem. We don't be persistent enough. We give up too easy. We do not give up. There is a way. There is a way. I went and spoke to the director of Child Protection Services in Orange County. He works out of a place looks like the Taj Mahal of India, and it's green like the Emerald City of Oz. And he has so much money, I was going to offer him a crutch so he doesn't fall over, because he had all this gold jewelry around his neck. And it was so big and so gaudy. And his place was so gaudy. I know where all the money's going. I know where the $1 trillion is going. But anyway, that director, I fought all the way to the top. I have gone to Congress people. In fact, I was dealing with a person in Georgia, an ex-senator there who was murdered. She died at the age of 75. She was murdered. And she wanted to can the whole CPS system.
Yes,
I want to make chances. But you know what I'm talking about, Nancy Schaefer.
Yes, I do.
And she is a remarkable lady. She has wonderful YouTube videos, and she really did. There was a rally 2 years ago up in Sacramento that I wanted to go to about CPS. So, this Doge thing is something new. Try it out. You get nothing to lose. I mean, persistence will pay off. Send an email to there. I imagine
doing
there's emails you can talk to on Truth Central to Mr. Trump. He loves to socialize. He spends his every day. He's well open. Everybody knows what he's doing. They know what he's doing, whether his hairstyle's changed or whether he plays golf or whatever he does. They keep track of President Trump. He's the most outspoken and most,
Yes, he is.
how can you say it, noticeable person as president. He doesn't disappear you for months at a time. And he is very good on a worldwide basis. In fact, he somehow got the Saudis to give him a $1.4 million Air Force One jet. That's a pretty good deal. They get that. I know that he's probably going to have problems taking that as a bribe, but that's a pretty good deal. I wish I could have come up with $1.4 billion for a jet.
Right.
So anyway, enough said about that. But back to Kiki's story here. If you had to share, like, okay, what was the final outcome of your domestic violence suit against your ex, I guess, boyfriend? I don't think you were married. Were you married to him?
No, this was all during COVID, and I mean, I don't want to, I don't want to really, I can't, I'm not going to speculate, and I'm not going to, assume or anything like that. But I'll just tell you this much: everything that should not have happened has happened, and it's been mind blowing, and it's just been scary. I mean, there's no other way around it. It's just things that it makes me sound crazy or like I'm lying. I'll tell you that much. And had I not believed in God and had plenty of people around me to support me and remind me to stay focused and just be grounded and keep going, despite what's being said, despite the way you look, despite, this tragedy, you have to keep going and you have to stay positive. And you definitely, I've been reaching out, and I'm not going to lie to you. When they took my youngest, when they let him go to Texas, I really, 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 it really broke me. And it really, for a minute, I did give up, and I was just really broken over this. And, but now I'm back up on my feet again, and I'm trying to push forward, and I'm trying to fight. And I mean, I don't know if you could let my email be available, but if to any parents that, need to talk or whatever, I would love to be able to speak with them. And maybe, we could, come up with something together to fight this, because something has to be done. There's no way around it. I mean,
right.
if unfortunately, look, I've actually spoke with Mr. Davis before, and
good.
I honestly
speak to him again, by the way.
He's in my opinion, from what because I've been going through this, and like I said, I've been studying myself, I've been reading, I've been reaching out. He's probably the best of the best. So it's like, when it comes to this situation, not to mention he was in foster care himself, I believe, as a child.
Right. So he was in foster care. You're so right.
So I know that he has his heart in the right place. And I know that things are happening. Changes are happening. It's happening. And so it's got to happen. They can't reign forever. And our children need to be safe. We have to save our children. That's our future. And I just know that, despite the outcome, which is basically my reunification. So, mind you, I've completed everything they've asked me to do. There's no way around it. There's something corrupt. I've had evidence withheld. I've had, there's definitely falsifying documents, definitely perjury. There's so much that has just, transpired within this whole time frame. And I've gotten nowhere closer to getting my children back. And this is a case that started where they couldn't even detain my children because there was no reason to. They found a way. They found a way no matter what. And, it's heartbreaking and it's scary. And if we don't do something about it, it's not going to get any better. So I'm hopeful and I'm strong enough. And I've been studying the law as well. And I know that if there's anybody else that wants to join in on the fight, I'm much more than willing to jump in there with them. So,
yeah. Well, I think if people are spoken and go to higher ups, like
that's what, and this new information I just received from you today about this DOG, I'm really hopeful, because let me tell you something. I have emailed. Oh my God. I have called, left messages with every liaisons, this and that supervisor. I have gone all the way up at the moment that I was like really pushing for this. I think Bob Cagle was the president of DCFS in my area, and I mean I left messages upon messages with with our everywhere. Okay. And I really haven't gotten any help, any assistance, nothing. And it's just been scary. The only outlet I've had is shows like this where people are willing to hear the truth, because the truth sometimes isn't easy for people to accept. Not to mention the fact that it's like, whoa, wait a minute. It's almost like you get this more, if you hear the truth, there's like this moral obligation that you have inside of you that eats at you where you should, like you feel bad if you're not doing anything about it. And I mean, it's got to start somewhere. It has to. And I mean, I believe that it's already begun. And like you said, there are major people here that have tried to fight and have been silenced, So, I mean, it's something that can't be taken lightly at this point. And the change has
No. Yeah, I do this twice a day, 7 days a week, 14 live streams. And I've been doing this, day after day, week after week, month after month, and year after year. And I've not missed a day yet. I've been on different times because I have family commitments sometimes, and I have to juggle my family commitments around this show. But I'm telling you, the more I talk, the more I listen to what people have to say, the more I see all the issues and all the problems. I think if somebody talks like I do, 2 hours a day, 14 hours a week, for as long as I talk, they have a wealth of information. Because not only are you talking about your case, but I'll be talking to a mother in the garage in Leeds, England, and she was hysterical, but I got her to calm down. Why would someone call me from England when she has her own country to go for help? Why do the Canadians, a lot of the Canadian people call
there's
me?
not too many people that are willing to fight.
I just find this out is that I don't know of anybody else that goes on twice a day, 7 days a week around the world. And the reason why these countries have called in is because somehow they tuned in and he wrote in Fight CPS or something like that. And the stories I heard have been terrible.
Yes.
A CPS worker or social workers, a group of them had all these children they were caring for from their parents, and they turned their back, they take them to a lake. Well, the lake in Africa is full of crocodiles.
No.
And unfortunate, one of the children was grabbed by a crocodile right before their eyes. Anyway,
I can't believe that this is happening in Africa and all these other places. I wasn't even aware of that. I mean, I know it's happening in the United States. But I didn't know
Rwanda is a country in 1994 that they tried to wipe out. And it wasn't about religion. It wasn't about race. It was about class of people, the farmers and the city folks. And over 1 million people were killed. And over 500,000 women were raped with men with AIDS. That they were trying to obliterate the groups. And this was Rwanda. And so I guess that's a reminder that we've gone over my show time. Thank you for the alarm.
I didn't even mean for that to happen.
Yeah, we've been on this show for an hour. I hope that you got something out of it. But you know what? You can come on again and again and again. People have come in here and spoken to Mr. Davis 5 different times by calling in or being a guest. You can keep coming back. I'm open to anybody. And I know one of the people here wanted to call in. And I'm sorry there is, but tomorrow morning I'm open if you want to. Let me see. Who's the person that called? I'm trying to think. My cousin has more. Jack Watt. If you want to call in tomorrow, call in tomorrow. If you want to guarantee. And by the way, as a guest on my live stream, I can take 9 of you. I can have 9 pictures of you all talking at once, and me makes 10. And most I've had is 4. But I'd love to have all of you that want to talk. It's free. It doesn't cost you anything. You just contact my show producer, Grace, and say you want to be on Bob's show. And the more people, the more merrier, because it gives a different background of people that can help one another. This morning, I had 3 or 4 of my people that called me Uncle Bob, and they were helping each other. A girl was in Otsego, New York, with her son, a special needs son, a 10-year-old boy that she couldn't see anymore, and Christina from Las Vegas, Nevada was helping out her. A girl from North Carolina was trying to help out. So all of you are really good advice. Whether you're in one state or another, CPS is CPS.
Bob, can I ask you a question real quick? Have you had any congressmen or anybody from, you know, any senator, anybody from the government? Like, if we could get somebody like that to join in on our conference.
Oh yeah, it would be good.
That'd be amazing, right?
The most important person, I shouldn't say important, but I did have a social worker. Her name was Carol. She's from Maryland.
Really?
She talked for 40 minutes. She had a degree in clinical psychology. She had 6 months of training by Maryland, and she was appalled to hear what was happening. But she talked.
Was she young? She was a new social worker.
I've had 4 foster care moms on the show.
Okay.
And all of them have been really great. I have one that calls in all the time, and that's Betty Jo from Montana, who's a foster mom. And she's helped out so many people. She's trying to get her niece, her brother's child, back. And that niece is stuck in Nebraska. She's in Montana. And the family that is temporarily placed the child doesn't want to give it up. They say, oh, it'd be too much trauma. The child is bonded. What is more bonded than a relative kinship is than anything else like that? But anyway, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to talk to me. I am going to wind down this show. What you're going to do is you're going to hear a brief message from Vincent Davis. Now, if you want to talk to Mr. Davis again, all you have to do, let me put my phone number up. For people that call in or are a guest on my show, and I can validate that, I can let Grace know and they'll set you up.
Mr. Davis.
Yeah, and that's right. I tell people to make a list of questions, but there's my number. What you do is you text that number, 626-698-0990. This is only for people that talk as a guest or call in. All of you that haven't done it, please do. And then you get that time with Mr. Davis. I'm just trying to encourage. It's a special deal that Vincent Davis helped me get people to be interactive with this live stream. So call that number. But you're going to hear a brief message from Mr. Davis. He has a new video out that will really touch your heart. I want you all to listen to it. But I want you all to know that I'm here. I care about you. I care about what happens to you, and I will help. I do anything I can do to help you. And do not stop fighting. Remember, your child is your precious gift to you. And if you're in here, it's because you love your children. And the best children are the biological parents that raise the children. The best parents are the biological parents. Nothing beats a true mom or dad raising a boy or a girl. And so look after your children, keep fighting, don't give up. And I'll see you all tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock Pacific Standard Time. And this is Bob Pace saying again, thank you, Kiki.
Thank you,
good night.
Good night.
A vivid picture is encrypted in your mind as the critics get in line like they're witnessing a crime. But then you notice there's a shiver in your spine from the feelings of discontentment and bitterness combined. Heartbroken when you listen to the judges, another kid's innocence corrupted. And if you go against it, it's destructive. Consider this predicament the toughest, but we believe in a system fit for justice. Child Protective Services only pretends to save it. The one solution for this is worthy of instant praises. 30 years of experience with relentless cases. Allow me to introduce them. This is Vincent Davis defending you when they don't think a mother fits the role. Is it juvenile dependency or government control? Observe the pain in their eyes. It's time for us to realize we are the last one.